Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Future Forward Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I'm joined by our wonderful guest, Lorna Rasmussen. And today we're going to be talking about the recipe for freedom, the absolute best way for women to make money. And, life is just too short to be living a life you don't absolutely love. And business is too hard for it not to be profitable. And this is what Lorna does for her clients. She helps them visualize the lifestyle they want and then develop and grow a profitable business to make it possible. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Lorna. She started her professional life as a documentary film producer and distributor. Then, after 20 years, Lorna entered the then new profession of business coaching. But she sort of had a turn. At the age of 48, she found herself on the verge of bankruptcy, and she was facing the prospect of having to work for the rest of her life. So she made a radical shift. Lorna put into practice what she had learned and applied to a new career in network marketing. I've applied it to that career. And, within 10 years, this is incredible. She had earned over $1 million and had created a six-figure retirement of residual or leveraged income, which some people call passive income. And she still works, but by choice, not necessary. Necessity. Isn't that lovely? And, it even gets better. I have to keep going on with the story about Lauren because in 2016, she and her husband moved to Costa Rica, and she was inspired by the Costa Rican Pura Vida lifestyle. And I hope I got that right.
Mhm.
She created an intimate and affordable support system for solopreneur women with a focus on coaches and network marketing professionals. Lorna now lives her dream life, integrating running a business and enjoying a satisfying and fulfilling life in paradise. And she's thrilled to help others do the same, whatever that definition of paradise is. So, Lorna, welcome to the show. I'm so thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Lynn. And I get excited just having you read my bio because it was a long journey, my
Well,
success journey.
yeah. I mean, and we all go through those bumps in the roads, and sometimes we have to take the long road around to travel a short distance, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, so before we get started and get right into this wonderful topic, for any of you who are joining us for the very first time, don't miss out on a single episode by subscribing to Future Forward Sales wherever you get your podcasts. And if you love what we're doing and you love this episode, please give us that 5-star review. We would very much appreciate it. Okay, so Lorna, I gave you this incredible bio, but let's dive in a little bit deeper and share with
hmm
our audience about who you are and what you and your company do.
Well, it said a lot in the bio, but it comes down to this, and it's what I experienced personally. I had a traditional business; it was a coaching business. And it's not that I wasn't working hard, I wasn't putting in the hours. I was building a new business. My husband at the same time was building his architectural practice, and we were living in Atlanta, Georgia, which was a relatively expensive city to be living in. And suddenly he wasn't paid, being paid. Again, not his fault. It was the largest contractor in the world decided not to pay their subs, and that was one of them was my husband. And I was faced for the first time with the reality that I just didn't have enough money coming in and therefore enough money saved to live through this challenge. That challenge could have been my mother getting sick up in Canada and I had wanted to be up there with her, or my son getting sick and I couldn't. There's all kinds of things that can happen to us as business owners. And when it's all on our shoulders, um, a little blip can be disastrous. And for me, it was the wake up call where I said, I got to do something different. I didn't know anything about network marketing. I didn't know anything about residual or leveraged income. I was pretty sure that insurance people got it, but I wasn't about to become an insurance person. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just not my interest. So when I fell into a company that was very akin to what I was doing, and this is one of the things I tell people, don't just go after the money, go after doing something. And what I would say to you, Lynn, if anybody has decided, oh, this isn't for me because I don't want to go into network marketing, every business owner needs to figure out how to create passive income in case this
Yeah.
happens, or they need to be making so much money they're putting the money away and they don't have to worry about it. I don't happen to know a lot of those people, so this is really what I'm encouraging people to do: is think about how you can make passive income, and it could be in a variety of different ways. I picked network marketing, quite frankly, because it was the easiest.
Okay. Well, that's terrific, and I think we're going to want to hear more about that, about the
Hmm.
network marketing, and also, what's the biggest challenge your clients face?
Hmm. Yeah, and so what I end up with is my clients, at least at the moment. I think what I do applies to everybody, but that's not how to get rich, right? We get rich in a niche. And it was very hard for me to niche down and say, okay, I'm just going to work with people in the direct sales world. But what I'm seeing them having a challenge with, which again is what I see for a lot of women, I'm sure it happens to men too. But I work exclusively with women, that they don't have the confidence that they can do this new thing. So if it's an old venture that they've just gotten tired about, or they've gone into something new, it starts with confidence. And that's where my programs start. They start with building confidence. It's what I had to do when I went into business the second time after the film business, which I just stumbled into and stumbled through and got out of. And now I'm doing something new. And all of the, can I do this? Is it, do I have a right to do this? What's my credentials for doing, all that crap that we end up with. What I found is that there's a methodology to helping. And so that's where we start with our clients. And then the next thing is having them really understand digital marketing. We're in a digital age, and I know you and I, Lynn, are of an age where we did things a little differently. I built my whole business putting up my hand saying, "Hi, I'm Lorna. What do you do?" And now what we have to be. So I've spent the last 2 years taking my marketing skills, but working with them in the digital world, whether it's networking or it's advertising or it's doing presentation, whatever it is to that will be your market, and helping particularly people in the direct sales world understand how to market in a digital way. If you are a woman of a certain age and you're trying to act like women of an age 20 to 30 years younger than you and do what they're doing on TikTok and whatnot, um, my guarantee is you feel silly and you look silly, and it probably doesn't work. So the other thing I would say, and I'm going to be giving my whole program here, but I'll try to stop, is people need to understand who their best client is, who their ideal client is.
Yeah.
Because if you have an ideal client, then you have the first clue as to how you should be marketing to them. And then the final thing I do is I help women in direct sales, but again, it applies to business as well, help them to really begin to learn the leadership skills with coaching. And so we do a lot of coaching. I'm coaching the women and I'm teaching them, I'm letting them know this is what I'm doing here. Because when you have a challenge with one of your team members, don't just tell them what to do, don't just train them, coach them, because they're having challenges for a reason and you need to help them get through that reason or they won't hear you. So that's kind of the bottom line of what I'm experiencing.
Yeah, well, and this is, I mean, it's definitely this confidence and the leadership skills. I mean, that is more urgent than ever now for, especially when
Mhm.
you're for women and men who are, building their own business and making those types of, I mean, just the growth and the transitions.
Mhm.
So, when they're not you know, sort of facing up to these issues, especially of how they can be a better leader. What does this challenge cost the client, and how does it impact their ultimate goal?
To me, it's millions of dollars. I mean, if I think that I was 48 when to 58 when I earned my first million, I thought, looking back the other direction, I maybe in the 30 years made $1 million. Maybe. It just it's but it's not just dollars. I mean, that's some one way to look at it, but it's the stress that it causes you. It's
Yeah.
the familial challenges that it gives you. I mean, I was very fortunate to join a network marketing company when my son was, I think, 7 was the age he was when we first got started, and that meant I could be home with him during a child's the hours that are most dangerous to a child, 4 to 6 o'clock when the parents aren't home. I was always there. And I was there for him when he needed me. I was there for him when he didn't want me, but I needed to be there. So the cost is enormous. Not, and this is the thing that people look at. They look at, oh well, I'm going to pay somebody this to learn this. It's what you're paying for is speed. You're
Yes.
paying, and speed is what gets you the money faster. So whatever the investment is, I've never had a problem making those kind of investments, because when I recognize I need help, and you can recognize it by, you're going around looking, where can I get help for this? When you recognize you need help, you go to the source that you believe can give you that help, and then it basically could move you years, if not decades ahead.
Yeah. Well, and you also avoid, to your point, the trial and the error, the frustration, the stress, and that is absolutely. I mean, you can go the DIY route, and you can maybe never get there,
Yeah.
or you can take a proven shortcut. So I'm absolutely there with you. So I'd love to hear more about the hidden critical success factors that you deliver.
Yeah, and so it's going back to what I was saying earlier, and is that I really saw, and this is not the fault of network marketing companies. They're doing what they're doing. That's their business model, and it works for them. But for women who are starting to experience success, and maybe they followed that model, what they run into is a lot of human interaction that most don't really know what to do. I mean, if they had been a manager in a business, in a job, they were the manager of this or the vice president of that. Um, they ordered people to do things, and for fear of losing their job, people did those things. Now they're faced with a voluntary army. Now, frankly, Lynn, I think every manager should act this way, but they don't. They act like you do this because if you don't. So what you're doing in coaching people is you're really getting down to the heart of what's causing them to not do what you've trained them to do, and you do that through questions, and you do that through empathy, and you do that through really helping people grapple with the things in their life. They may not even be aware of why they're not doing the things they're doing. I don't know. Yes, you
Yeah.
told me how to do it, but I'm not doing it. Well, let's really get down to the nitty gritty. So that's a big part of what I do. And I do it, as I said, through coaching the women that are part of my program, and we do individual coaching. We're also going to do some retreats here. So I'm excited about bringing some people here to my paradise and showing them. But it's then, how do you apply that to your team? And that's a good part of the program.
Yeah, yeah, and that absolutely, and it makes a lot of sense. And I do think
Hmm.
people have blinders, or they have blind spots, and they don't
Hmm.
recognize, what is holding them back, or where that resistance is coming from.
Yeah.
And so I really I just get this. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
So I think that for anyone who's tuning in and they're sort of going through this in their mind, and they know that they have areas that there's things that they need to do, and yet they're
Hmm.
not doing it every day. It's like they put anything else in front of it, or they're putting it off. I mean, procrastination is a great example of something where you're not doing what you need to do because there's this resistance.
Yeah.
So, what's an essential
What?
action that
Uh
someone could take to
huh.
overcome this challenge?
You're asking for the magic.
Oh,
Um,
well, just one suggestion that someone
yes.
who's tuning in can sort of, put into place today.
Yeah, I really think it comes down to understanding why you're doing what you're doing. Even if you say, I'm doing it for the money, that's still a why. But let's go a little deeper. Why that money? Why do you need that money? Let's go a little deeper. What will happen if you have that money? What kind of impact is it going to have on your family, on you, on your sense of yourself, all those things. And so it's really coming down to that magical thing called a why. And quite frankly, for a lot of people, they do things almost in automatically,
Yeah.
maybe based on people telling them things or recommendations, and they don't ask themselves, and even to take a moment and hold your heart and just say, what's going on, Lorna? Why am I feeling this way? What am I feeling, first of all? And then based on that, start going through what it is you're doing. I told you that I loved reading, even though I wrote it. I love that introduction because it reminded me of the struggle I went through, and it reminded me of the journey I took. And if this came right off the top of my head, but I'd recommend to people, write an introduction, write a little story about your life, and read it when you get down and you're like, I'm in my third week of fighting with Google. Why am I doing this? Now I know. And I can feel, I really believe it's not just, and everybody talks about why, getting to your why. I really think you need to get to your calling. What's your calling? What's really making you do the things you're doing, and why are you doing them regardless of how hard they are? Why are you in the business you're in?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's beautiful. And I think that taking that time, I talk about that as well. To me, it's a
Mm-hmm.
powerful pause to really,
Mm.
you know, I use that phrase in so many different ways, but in this, it's the same thing. It's like in that moment is just taking that step back,
Mm-hmm.
and saying, okay, what am I feeling? Why do I think I'm feeling this way? Let the emotion, just feel it, and then
Yeah.
start to go through a little moment of introspection. And sometimes just a few minutes can help, you know, sort of recenter yourself. Sometimes for me, I need to take a walk and I need to sort of
Mm.
sit with this and just let my mind, like, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? And to your point, and that the activity of actually physically walking, the movement and breathing fresh
Mm-hmm.
air. I live in a a nice neighborhood with trees and plants and all this, and I can also have a park that's really close, and I can do a trail walk. That's
Yeah.
literally a 20-minute trail walk, but just that opportunity to take that break, it also frees up your mind from that moment. And you'd be surprised. You think, I don't have 20 minutes, but it's like
Yeah.
you come back so much more refreshed and focused and centered and truly re-energized, that you're going
Well,
to be
what's your
so much more effective than
yeah. Yeah,
than trying
what
to.
you've done there is
Yeah.
empowered your subconscious. And your subconscious doesn't know the difference between reality and unreality. So tell your subconscious, we're going to solve this problem. We're going to overcome this. And then it's working while you're taking your walk, Lynn. Your subconscious is working on the solution. And I'm sure you found many times you return from your walk and, oh, that's what I'm going to do.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, it just things just fall into place. And I just feel so much better. I just
Hmm.
literally feel physically better, but I'm
Yeah.
mentally so much better. And
Yeah.
that taking that break, and it can be hard because, you know, to do. And but you will be surprised when you give yourself that moment. It's like you're giving
Hmm.
yourself a gift. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I love what you said about it, because I certainly don't know the psychology behind it, but I just know it works.
Yeah.
I also know it can be hard for overachievers and high performance individuals to to do that for themselves,
Yeah.
because I think they just have to power through something,
Yeah.
and yet they're not actually doing their best work, and they're not helping themselves.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Oh well,
We're on the
Lauren.
same wavelength.
Yes. And I love what you're doing. So I just want to have a really quick piece for anyone who's tuned in and maybe they don't quite know what network marketing is. Could you just answer that so that they have a broader idea so that you can share that
Yeah.
with them?
Yeah. Network marketing simply means that products, goods, services are sold face to face. So some people call it direct selling, sold face to face rather than through a store, online store, actual store. So you can buy very good products. The products that are sold through network marketing tend to be extraordinarily good products. Tend to be cutting edge. They tend to be things that need to be explained, so the person's job, if you will, is to explain it. But you're creating your own business. And what I love about it, I really think of it as the purest form of capitalism, because what's happening is you're building your business. You are sharing with other people a product or service that you believe in, and it's very important that I think that you believe in your product or service. And then you are also, because it's called network marketing, you're also able to build a network of salespeople or sales associates or marketing associates, whatever you want to call them, who also sell that same product to their people, the people that they know or the people that they meet. And so you can create a network. I created a network that wasn't a huge network, but they were people that were really committed to the concept of what we were doing. And they went off and built their own businesses. Now, 7 years into it, I was making a six-figure income, but I was, and they were all making whatever they were making. My house burned down.
Oh,
And this is, I'm telling this story, and I sound like a sad sack here. My husband didn't get paid, and my house burned. I can go on. There are a lot of things like this that have. But here's what the beauty of a network marketing business. If that had been your business, Lynn, or had been my husband's business as an architect, it probably would have very negatively affected the business. In
right.
my case, I literally disappeared. I mean, I just stopped working. I couldn't work. I was so distraught and had so much to do with dealing with the insurance company and all the stuff
Yeah.
that happened. My income didn't go down; it went up,
Oh,
because people were not working for me. They were working with me, but for themselves, and they continued to do that. And so that's, to me, that story epitomizes the power of network marketing versus a more traditional business. And as one woman who was a coach, like I had been for a while, got involved in network marketing business not that long ago. She was probably into her 60s or 70s, and I said, "What prompted you?" She said, "I had never earned enough money to put enough money away for my retirement. The average person, they say, needs $4 million." um, but she said, what attracted me to network marketing was I was using somebody else's infrastructure. And so
right.
she had, built her own infrastructure for her coaching business, but this was somebody else's infrastructure. So it's a lot easier to build a business. And I tell people, get into network marketing just to learn the business. In fact, there's a book on it by Robert Kiyosaki called the business for people who like to help people.
Yeah.
No, the business school for people who like to help people. In other
Yeah.
words, get into a network
Yeah.
marketing company to learn about business if you don't know about business.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds, thank you so much. Thank you so much
You're
for doing
welcome.
that. And I know that our audience, everyone who's tuned in, they're going to want to know more about you and where they can find out more about you.
Well, the best place to go is to lornarasmussen.com. So look at my name. It's not that difficult, but lornarasmussen.com, which is my website. It's evolving at the moment, but there's a lot of things there. The other thing is, go to LinkedIn, and let's get to know each other on LinkedIn, make a contact with me. The one thing that I'd like to offer, if anybody does go to my website or does go to LinkedIn, get in touch with me, and I would be happy to send you a copy of the book that you referenced at the beginning, which is The Absolute Best Way for Women to Make Money. And that tells you all about network marketing, tells you all about the pros and cons and how to get into the right company and that sort of stuff. So it's a great book for somebody who's interested.
All right. Well, that was wonderful. What a wonderful offer. And, and I have to share as we're talking here, Lorna, that, how you and I connected, and we connected through a networking event.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's built out even further, that we are both going to be on the Women's Prosperity Alliance Summit together. And I'm so excited with that's coming up and to be sharing the stage with you. It's just such a privilege and honor.
Thank
So,
you.
woohoo.
Yeah.
And I hope that everyone who's tunes in, I mean, you know how podcasts are. This could be years later that you're listening to this one, but if I hope that you check both Lorna out and the Women's Prosperity Alliance. So
Hmm.
this has been such a great discussion, Lorna.
Thank you.
And I want to point out to our audience, thank you so much for tuning in and listening in. And if you have ideas that you'd like to share or you'd like to leave us a comment, you can do that right below. We love hearing your thoughts. And if you have a question or would like to suggest a topic for discussion, you can email us at jointheconversation@petitequeen.com. And to stay current on all of our insightful advice, our breakthrough advantages, wonderful episodes like the one today with Lorna, you can sign up for our weekly Wisdoms newsletter at petitetoqueen.com. And I want to thank everyone who tuned in and who's listening to the show. And Lorna, thank you so much for everything today. It's just been such a pleasure.
Thank you. It was great. I learned something too.